Hey guys, Soulord here, back again with another action figure review. Today, I'm very excited to be taking a look at the Figura Obscura gods of ancient Egypt, Anubis, the god of the dead. This is of course brought to us by the fine folks over at Horsemen Studios and was offered in a 2-pack with Bastet, the Egyptian goddess of fertility. And while this may have been offered as a 2-pack, sold as a 2-pack, whatever you want to call it, as a 2-pack, both Anubis and Bastet we'll be taking a look at later today, so stay tuned for that. We're packaged individually, so we are going to be doing 2 separate reviews to try and keep things as short and sweet as possible, but most likely, as always, fail miserably in the process. So, with that being said, we're going to cut right to the chase and get into the meat and taters of this review and take a look-see at all Anubis has to offer in terms of accessories, starting off with a pair of claw hands. He actually comes packaged with these. Currently, he has the 2 claw hands that are grip hands on him. That said, if those weren't claw enough for you, we have 2 open claw hands. Ironically, none of these are reused from Belphegor, so they went all out with the tooling here. Setting those aside, we do also get some regular human hands. You can tell because they don't have the claws on them. These actually have the appropriate hinge-folding weapons, so that is nice. That said, we do get a second pair of human hands. These ones have the incorrect hinge for holding weapons, which kind of sucks because I would have rather have gotten some open human hands maybe. So we already got the definitive grip hands in this style. That said, sticking with human parts, we do get a pair of human feet, because on him he has the jackal, or as I like to call them, the paw feet. But he will stand easier with these, obviously. That said, they also have peg holes at the bottom. Funny enough, the paw feet do not have peg holes at the bottom. Not sure why that is. There's plenty of surface area for it. But he's having no trouble standing at the moment, so knock on wood, stays that way. Said we do have an alternate open mouth jackal head, which looks freaking awesome. I love that. We also have another alternate jackal head. This one looks a little bit more like a mask or a statue. To quote Ralphie from A Christmas Story, yeah, a statue, as he touches the buttocks of the leg lamp. We also get a neck to go with this head. It doesn't have the throat muscles here, whatever you want to call those. It's pretty smooth. That said, I don't think this was entirely necessary, but it's cool that they threw it in there. I would have rather have gotten some jackal heads that didn't have this peg on the back for his headpiece there, but that's just me. That said, we do get some artifacts, starting off with the altar of Scooby-Doo. It's got the jackal on the top there. And this actually does come off the lid. And you could store all the accessories in here, in theory. So that's kind of nice. Give you a storage container. That said, I had to heat up this little jackal dude to pop him on there. And the tail has a tendency to fall off, so I might have the old man, aka Mr. Brian, aka my dad, glue that in there so it doesn't fall out. But there you go. The bottom piece does come off as well. And everything stays together nice and snug for the most part. And somebody tell me, are these little bumps, these little speed bumps here, whatever they're called, are they supposed to be in the back or the front? I'm assuming they're supposed to be in the back, but I really don't know. Setting that aside, Because to go along with the altar of Scooby-Doo, we get a cookie jar to store Scooby snacks in. That is humor, folks. This is actually used to store organs. Because when they mummify the dead Egyptians, they take all their guts out and put them in these jars. That said, they actually open. So you could, in theory, store stuff in there. And they do snap back together nice and tight. Said he also comes with this little kind of a bookend piece with the all-seeing Eye of Sauron on there. Obviously, that's not what the Eye of Sauron looks like. That is, again, a joke. That said, he does have a couple accessories he can actually hold on to. He's got a little ankh here, which we could fused with a cross with a loop-de-loop on top of it. Very nice piece. I could see someone weaving some string through that and using it as a necklace on another figure. And then we get his staff, which has been referenced as a scythe, but obviously doesn't really look like a scythe. But this is Anubis' trademark staff. You know, this is his Captain America shield. So there you go. It's got a little prong on the bottom in case he wants to skewer you. But there you go. That, my friends, is everything this guy comes with. But in case you're a simpleton like me, he does come with a little booklet explaining all the different artifacts that he comes with, which is pretty cool. Because while I am a fan of ancient Egyptian mythology and folklore, I don't know everything, alright? Clearly displayed that here. So, before we take a closer look at him, in true Figura Obscura fashion, we have to look at the box. You can't do a Figura Obscura review without looking at the box. And here it is. Of course, amazing Nate Barch artwork on the front, as well as the back and the spine. This, of course, can come off. Little magnet flaps there. I'll set that aside for the moment. You can see this is where Anubis was entombed, for lack of a better term. And then you can see some more artwork and some read up on the back, and then there's some other stuff on the spines. No hints to future Figura Obscura releases like with the Jacob Marley, but you know, fingers crossed we get some more Egyptian gods, because I'm all here for that. That would be awesome. That said, we gotta set up the little dio here, because that's just what you do in one of these reviews. Try to center it as best as I can. Ooh, it's falling forward. There we go. Yep. There. That's pretty good. Alright. I'll take that. Hold on. Hold everything. Almost there. There we go. There. Third time's the charm, right? So bring in the man of the hour back in, I should say, Anubis. He's freaking bussin'. There is no denying that this guy is one of my figures of the year, at least thus far. Horsemen are really going to have to throw something crazy out there to top this, because I wasn't expecting this. I knew they were probably going to get to it, but man, he came out great. He looks awesome. He's utilizing like all new parts too, so why don't we quit flapping our gums and get into that. I'm going to pop his head off actually. And take off this collar piece so we can actually appreciate some of the new parts here, because he's got the new neck assembly, and the neck does rotate, but look at that. It's got a seam, but it's almost seamless. It's crazy how they engineered that. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you want to swap the necks, you're going to have to heat that thing up and pop it out. That said, it does hinge forward and back quite well, but you're not going to get a lot of that range with his collar piece here. which does have little openings so you can still plug in shoulder pads and utilize the collar. That's cool. But when you add all this stuff to him, it's going to be very difficult to articulate the head. But you do get rotation forward and back. And you do get a little bit of hinge down. Not so much up, but you do get a little bit. And it's mostly on the ball itself, so they really didn't even need to put the hinge in there, but I appreciate it. It's not too bad. And Four Horsemen don't do the lollipop syndrome thing like Hasbro, so, you know, that's a plus as well. Shoulders, they can go out pretty far. I think they could probably go further than that. I'm just not pushing it enough. They do rotate forward and back. He does have a single jointed elbow. I believe he is utilizing the new lower arms from the Sons of the Red Star House of the Noble Bear wave. What was it called? Rising Suns wave. That went up for pre-order last November. The G-Con wave, as everyone likes to call it. So he's got a little bit better bend in that elbow. And he's got a new lower arm that's got nothing on it. These gauntlets are separate pieces. So when you pop the hands off, you can take the gauntlets off. I don't think they're keyed in there. I think they're just nice and tight because that's how the Horsemen roll with certain things. And yeah, that's very, very nice. That's a nice thing to have. I'm looking forward to having just slip-on gauntlets as opposed to the forearm swivel because they don't really need it. As long as it's a separate piece, it will rotate just fine. That said, he does have a swivel in the wrist with a hinge. Unfortunately, the wrong hinge for holding weapons with these hands, but it is what it is, I suppose. He's got a torso that can crunch that far forward, which is pretty good considering he's got a lot going on. Not too much back, but you do get enough, I think. He does have some tilt side to side, but not a ton. He does have a waist twist, not too loose there. Because one thing I want to reiterate with the Gods of Ancient Egypt set is that unlike the Cosmic Legions wave we just wrapped up reviewing yesterday, the Outpost Axias, they do not have nearly as loose of joints as some of those figures. I don't know what happened between these guys and those guys, but things have definitely been tightened up, and I'm very happy to report that to you guys. Because I don't want to dog on the Horsemen for the same thing over and over and over again, but loose joints should be a thing of the past, man. And thankfully this guy doesn't have them, at least not to where they're an issue. His hips will kick forward and back. He can kick out, back down. He does have a thigh swivel. Again, different thigh pieces. Maybe the same hips we're used to seeing, but I'm not sure. He does have a single knee that gets you plenty of bend, as well as rotation below the knee. He does have a swivel in the ankle with a hinge, which is tight-ish. It's not the tightest thing ever, but it's not loose as all get out. Like, again, those Cosmic Legions we just looked at. Then he has a rocker, and unfortunately no peg holes at the bottom of the feet, because he is a little tricky to stand with these paw feet, but not too bad. And then he does have a little bit of a ball joint in the tail, which has a tendency to pop out, but I'm okay with that as long as it's not loose, or too loose, and it doesn't break because it's too tight. I'm okay with that, but he does have a bendy wire in the tail, and it plugs in basically the same way as the Monkey King, so that's your lot. Very, 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 very happy with this figure. I love this figure. Anubis is my favorite of the Egyptian gods. So there's no doubt in my mind that he is going to be a contender for one of the figures of the year. Because I've always wanted an Anubis figure. I grew up watching a lot of cartoons that, strangely enough, had a lot of archaeological stuff in it. Like Mummies Alive, Tuttenstein, the Mummy animated series, Secrets of the Magi, whatever it's called. Even the Jackie Chan Adventures cartoon, heavy on the archaeology, as well as Secret Saturdays. So, you know, my generation, that's what we grew up on. I love those shows. I love this figure. I love Egyptian mythology. Along with pirates, that was a big thing for me as a kid. And Four Horsemen got quite a few parts to make some pirates, so it's only a matter of time before that happens, right? So before we get into all kinds of wish lists, why don't we move right along and take a look at some size comparisons. First up, here is our friendly neighborhood god of the dead, good old Anubis, alongside his fellow god of ancient Egypt, Bastet, the goddess of fertility, amongst other things, as well as a standard 1.0 body bug figure from the Mythic Legions Deluxe Legion Builders wave. This is the Deluxe Gladiator Legion Builder from the Army of Laodiceus, although you could use him with your House of the Noble Bear if you really wanted to. The main reason I went with him is because, unfortunately, I could not get to my Clavius figure from Advent of Decay, so he was the next best thing. But as you can see, despite the fact that Anubis is utilizing a 1.0 body buck all of his own, he stands quite taller than our gladiator here. So before things get ugly, those of you who don't know your world history, Rome and Egypt do not get along very well. So before we have an all-out war on our hands, let's get these two out of here and bring in our two regulars, the Mythic Legions Brother Mandibulus, also from Advent of Decay, and very familiar with Gods of the Dead. His daddy's one, after all. Or is it Death? Does it matter? I don't know. And we have the infamous 11 Spawn, who is not towering over everyone today, because even though Spawn is big Mahungahala in his own right, he's about toe-to-toe with good old Anubis here. So, with that being said, it's time now that we move right along and wrap things up with some final thoughts. Overall, and I'm not entirely sure what else to say at this point, other than, if you haven't been paying attention throughout the entirety of this review, good old Anubis here is the friggin' man. And out of the two Egyptian gods figures from the fine folks over at Horsemen Studios' recent Figura Obscura offering, this Jackal Man right here is by far my favorite. Anubis has always been and always will be my favorite of all of the Egyptian gods, and the Horsemen nailed this sucker on the back of the head and freaking killed it. This figure is absolutely amazing and freaking fantastic in every sense of the word, and is definitely going to be a contender for my top action figures of 2024, despite the fact I still haven't gotten around to my top action figures of 2023 just yet. What can I say? Guilty is charged, right? So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and until next time, I'll catch you guys later.